Good afternoon and welcome to Industry Insights. My name is Gethin and I'm from Iterate. We are a purpose-driven product design consultancy based here in the UK. And today I'm talking with Lucy Manifold from Habitronics. Good morning. Well, sorry, good afternoon, Lucy.
Thank you, Kathy. Good afternoon.
How you doing?
I'm fine, thank you. I'm excited to join
Good.
you today.
Yes, good. Yeah, me too. Me too. Because I think that you've got a lot of insights that you can share in particular. Um, because I think for some of our clients, you're in a similar position to them, but also a lot further along in your entrepreneurial journey to many of those. But I'm keen to sort of get straight in. And for those that aren't familiar with Habitronics, can you tell me about who you are? What are you building?
Yeah, thanks, Kathy. So, yeah, Habitronics is the name of my company, and we're aiming to build analog app-free products that help adults regain their time, regain their focus, kind of control of their life. In this world where everything is so fast moving, everything is engineered to distract us, and it's very purposeful. Our relationships are becoming, more detached with other people, and even losing a sense of self, I would say. There's a lot of talk around children, limiting screen time with children. But
Okay.
ultimately, adults are just as lost in this world. And I would like to see a world where we value calmness and presence over the instant gratification that has been engineered around us. So I've developed our launch product, which is called Enclo, and I don't actually have the prototype with me. It's with a young person that I'm working with.
Okay.
But it's a locking module. Not like a padlock, it's a unique mechanism that can be used to you ultimately set a time that you wanted to unlock at, put the product or anything that is a kind of an addictive behavior that you have and lock it away for a certain time. And there's no apps and no subscriptions. And hopefully it's something desirable and aspirational.
Okay. So it's you're developing a digital lock that allows people to control access to different devices, or what is it particularly that you're trying
Absolutely
to?
anything that they are
Okay.
struggling
Wow.
with that they feel that they no longer have control over. So what
Okay.
springs to mind for most people, of course, is their phone. And that's no
Yeah.
surprise. Like the social media is free because kind of we are the product and they benefit.
Mm,
They
mm,
these companies that own own social media be- profit from our distraction. They're designed to keep you hooked. They reward they activate your brain's reward center very frequently,
okay.
and we're just losing time. And
Yeah.
there's app blockers out there, but from my research, people just override them, including myself. So I'm looking
Mm,
for alternatives. Yeah.
interesting. Interesting. So how did you that's a completely valid problem in my view, but how did you identify that in the first case? Was it just your own personal behaviors that led you
Yeah,
to want to focus on that?
kind of. So I would say, kind of going back in time a little bit, when I was doing my A levels, I
Mhm.
didn't really commit that part to them. I didn't do very well. And it really gave me the kick I needed to build some self-discipline. So I retook them and ultimately have a PhD now. So I spent a lot of time learning how to create an environment that allows me to focus. And in the background, this is what I had in my head to help me build a product similar. And I just felt like, why now? Um, in the past 10 years or so,
Mhm.
it's just the problem to me has accelerated so much.
Mm,
Social
mm,
media has completely changed. So
mhm.
I guess I was looking back at my own, I'll just mute that person. Um, looking back at my own kind of Facebook page in 2012, which I think like a couple of years after the like button was created and then put onto Facebook, I'd posted this picture. In fact, it was my cover photo on Facebook where this guy was kind of he had an IV and it was the like button, and I could just see that it was starting to take advantage of our need to be liked by our peers, social media. And this was 2012, so we're 14 years later, and now Instagram used to be like taking a picture of, spaghetti hoops, having for my tea, and now it's like marketing, a stream for marketing your life
Yeah.
and all this short form content. It's just overwhelming and it's hard to get away from.
Interesting. Yeah, and I like the fact that you are actually addressing this problem with a physical product, because you say that the research that you've done so far suggests that the current measures that are in place are actually not really suitable.
Yeah, absolutely. And there are, like, don't get me wrong, there's competitor products out there.
Okay.
But I wanted to create something, really aspirational, hopefully designed in a beautiful way, and doesn't require a subscription, or an app, which most of these products do, or they're kind
Mm.
of clunky and unattractive.
Hmm.
To use a brutal word.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to get the best of both worlds, something that can be accessible to most people as well.
Okay. One of the things that I very often see, particularly with startup companies, is kind of like they're very good often at identifying problems, but they're often driven by their own personal experiences. But it's then that crossover into, well, I've got this problem. Does other people have the same problem? But do enough people have that problem to be able to justify actually solving it and it becoming a valid commercial opportunity? So what was your thought process around that? Or what did you actually do to kind of go from this is my experience to this is actually worth solving for a greater amount of people.
Yeah, it's tough, and that's the hardest part, I think, of beginning the process, because in some ways you want to avoid it. You want to ignore anything that would tell you anything other than information that would
Yeah.
validate your own experience.
Okay.
So, you know, just for a small bit of background, my background, I'm a geologist. I worked in oil and gas. This is completely different to what I've done before. So I came into this quite inexperienced, but knowing that I always had wanted to create something. But what I guess where it began was I just felt like I wanted to make a difference I wanted to make a difference. So this is my time to try and move forward with this idea that I have. And it did start with
Mm.
talking to friends, talking to family. I'm sure that's how most people begin, and a bit of a market research survey, just to, again, friends and family and whoever they could send it to. Again,
Yeah.
probably not that atypical for an individual person. Maybe if I was part of an institute, like a university, that'd be a bit more available to me.
Hmm.
So this gave me some. Don't worry, this will get better. It gave me a bit of confidence. However, I knew that this could be kind of biased information. So
Okay.
one of my colleagues introduced me to this, like the mum test philosophy around approaching market research, in that if you ask questions around, sorry, there's an ambulance going past. If you ask questions to your friends and family, essentially, they'll
Yeah.
say the right thing to protect you, protect your feelings. And what you
Hmm.
want to understand is people's behaviors. What do they do now? How much have they spent on, tools to support their productivity so far this year, in the past year? How often do they override app blockers, that kind of thing. So I did some more market research with a kind of a completely different approach, and this did continue to validate my thoughts around the product and its potential.
I find that fascinating that you say that you've got a background in geology, and you've transitioned into product development, entrepreneurship, business management. What sort of skills do you think that you've managed to transfer over to what you're doing at the moment?
Yeah, that is an interesting question. I would say throughout my life, I've had small little entrepreneurial journeys. Like,
Okay.
I started gymnastics club at University of Manchester, and I wasn't eligible for any funding until I'd run it without any for 2 years. So in a way, then I had to create an income stream without having any from the beginning. So I've had some experience of starting something from scratch and building it into something. In terms of my experience from my career, gosh, probably just resilience. Just keeping moving forward and
Yeah.
not being afraid to make mistakes. I've got a fair bit of leadership experience, but I don't right
Okay.
now I don't have a team, but I'm hoping that the experience that I have as team leader will serve me well in the future when I am looking to serve to have a team.
Very
Um,
good.
Commercial experience, just basics of making money versus losing money. But I've had to learn a lot in the past year, a heck of a lot. So I came into this inexperienced, and I still have so much to learn, but it's been, really enjoyable.
Mm, mm. So, you're developing a physical product. You've got no experience of doing that. So how did the assumption is that you're going to need to bring in all of these different skills to help support you. So how have you found that? How have you identified maybe the right people and resources to bring in to your business to kind of start to make this happen for you?
Yeah, for me, I feel like I could provide with really good advice now to someone who wants to do this, but for me, it was very
Okay.
much a case of I had an idea, I drew it on a piece of paper, I Googled, how to, product design companies, how to build a prototype,
Mm,
and essentially I just called them up, traditionally on the phone and understood what that might look like, costs, their appetite for taking it on,
yeah.
um, and went from there really. I was looking for a company that, yeah, they were really on board with the idea and understood that I really wanted to build physical prototype within the budget that I had. I think there's a lot of companies out there that were offering kind of rendered images and for a lot of money. And I'm not saying that's wrong, but I uh, I was I was already a little bit naive, but if I'd been even more naive, I could have paid a lot of money for some images that may never have matched to a realistic piece of hardware, and then been left with very little budget to develop anything else.
Mm, that's interesting to hear, actually. Um, so because uh, I think a lot of people, certainly that I talk to, that are in a similar position to you, they assume that we get asked to quote for projects from start to finish, and very often um, the founders are surprised at the cost that's involved in doing that. And because maybe that cost seems quite overwhelming to go from, A to B, that they kind of almost don't consider how that could be broken down into smaller milestones to be able to move that through to market eventually,
Yeah.
and so if you if you what would you say to people that are in that position that, if they've got an idea, they've validated that idea, what are the immediate next steps beyond
Yeah.
that? Rather than just assuming, right, I have to charge all of the way to market, and if I haven't got enough money in my bank right now, it's not a consideration whatsoever.
Yeah, it can feel so overwhelming, and it even does to me still, to be honest. So if they validated the idea through research, something that I maybe could have done more of was validating the idea with building a very cheap, very, very,
Okay.
very cheap, minimal version of the product that maybe, doesn't even have the electronic components, and
Okay.
getting feedback on that first. In terms of then thinking about how to move forwards, of course, it depends how much they have available to them. I would just say I'm a completely normal person with just, I worked a normal job with salary. I don't have like huge savings to invest into taking a product to market. So I don't want anyone to think that I've just had like this pot of money at hand to invest here. I think if it's something I just didn't even know really existed, or if that's the phrase I'm looking for, but looking at the innovation landscape across the UK in terms of what funding is available if you're
Okay.
looking for grant funding, considering how, if you're unable to fund it yourself, be realistic. How would you actually seek to fund the rest of your um project or product? So obviously there's grants. If you're needing big grants, Innovate UK have very specific categories that you want to fit into at this point.
Okay. Okay.
So, and then look at local councils, look at
Yeah.
I don't know, even Pizza Hut have grants. Try to
Oh,
understand
wow.
what may you be able to obtain. Maybe you're
Okay.
thinking of going down an angel investor route. Look, try to understand the difference between venture capitalists versus angel investors. And then it's very much a networking game. Then, where do you want to put your energy when you're trying to start a business? Like trying to build connections and build relationships with investors. That's really hard as well. So it's just getting a picture, mapping it out. What's plan A? What's plan B? What's plan C? And just be hopeful that the innovation landscape changes all the time, and
Mm.
more funding may be available to you. And yeah, having. So I guess my final thought is building credibility of your business while you're developing the product. If it is really helpful as well. Like if you can provide consulting services or sell a different product to show, start trading and build credibility of your business, that would help as well, and also ideally give you funds to keep moving forwards.
Yeah. So, because I know from experience that the innovation landscape does look very fragmented. What's available in Wales is very different to what's available in England, and you have various different organisations that, to some extent, they overlap in what they can that offer businesses, and there's different criteria about the size of business, the sector that you're operating in, and the list goes on. But what support has Habitronics received, and is has it been useful? Has it been helped the business move forward?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So I kind of founded the business at the beginning of last year, started developing a prototype, doing the consumer research, and around summertime, I was awarded a place onto the Royal Academy of Engineering Regional Talent
Okay,
Engine. So
yeah,
this provided me with £20,000, which is just amazing. Equity-free grant and 6 months of business and entrepreneurial training.
okay,
It also provided me with a network of people that just a huge network of people that I can go to with questions and, even for doing consumer research. So that was, without that, I would potentially still be a bit lost. So I feel like I have a lot of advice to give anyone if they have questions. And then following that as well, I've received a grant from the Welsh Government, the Digital Productivity Accelerator, which has really helped me map the product to market, the journey to get the product to market and what I need to do next to access the
mm,
next stage of funding. So, and I'm hearing rumours of more grants being available in Wales soon. So yeah, so I'm based in North Wales. It's quite challenging seeing over in Liverpool all these different fundings available, but it's really important to
okay,
me to keep the business here in Wales.
yeah, interesting. So what would you say to people then that are that are in your position and they are looking for grants or they are looking for, as you say, mentoring support? Where would you suggest that they look or even start?
Yeah. Yeah, it is tricky. I think Barclays Eagle Labs is that the
Okay.
name that I'm looking for?
Yeah,
You
yeah,
can
yeah.
register
Barclays
there and
Eagle Labs.
find a mentor
Okay.
through, if you're looking for something specific like marketing or product
Okay.
development or something something technical. There's a huge network of people to join up to there. And I don't know, the other examples are more local to me, but I'd say that'd be a great place to start. And also Business Wales, I assume there's an equivalent across the rest of the UK as well. I've got a mentor
Yeah.
through there as well.
Okay. All right. Yeah, that's really good. So I wonder because you sort of mentioned VCs and angel investors, and one of the things that they're very often looking for is intellectual property.
Mm,
Aside from what the founder themselves can bring to the party, intellectual property seems to be quite a high priority to them. So, how's that featured in your business? The importance of intellectual property, or maybe not.
Yeah, no, that is a really interesting point, and again, can feel very intimidating and overwhelming. And I
Yeah.
suspect when people think of intellectual property, they associate that with patents quite
Mm,
often.
they do.
And patents are can be, critical in certain industries. I'm sure they're also very expensive and not necessarily realistic for a startup. You also want to be sure that you know what you're patenting. I think it's very difficult to do at the beginning of the journey.
Yeah.
For me, this didn't feel like the patent didn't feel like the right fit. Again, I wasn't 100% sure what I would be patenting at this stage. So
Mm,
for me, I still wanted to protect some intellectual property that I could. Um, because as you say, it's important to investors, and I also do want to protect the brand. So I have a couple of trademarks in terms of product names, and
okay.
I
Yeah.
haven't quite got around to this. Well, I'm looking to register the design rights, which is much more accessible and I think more suitable for my product in terms of the appearance of it. Um, it's that's more important than its functionality in a way. That's what I would
Mm,
like to protect, but I haven't gone down that route yet because the design isn't finalized. So again,
okay.
I don't want to. I've got to be really careful with where I'm spending my money.
Yeah. Yeah. That's really good to hear, actually, because there's definitely an assumption that a new product should have a patent, and such a strong focus is placed on the need for it. And that doesn't necessarily translate through to market success. If you've got a patent, that doesn't mean that your product will be successful. And I think that kind of the two get a bit lost along the way. And actually, design registration does give you a real nice form of IP, and it's just more appropriate, isn't it, for some products
Yeah.
compared to others.
Yeah, agreed.
Mm, okay. All right. So what I'm always interested in is artificial intelligence, particularly in product design. And so, how's that featured in what you're doing here? So, not necessarily, AI in the physical product itself, but have you leveraged any AI tools during the journey? Even if we're talking ChatGPT potentially, but have you found that useful at all? And how have you used AI?
I've absolutely used AI. I think it's made my kind of daily activities far more efficient, especially given that, I have a job, I have limited hours to put into my business at the moment. So what have I used it for? Well, I mean, kind of what haven't I used it for really?
Oh, right. Okay.
I don't mean that just in terms of having as a person, as someone on their own trying to start a business, I've got nobody to bounce ideas off. So
Yeah.
I'd say that's how I would most frequently use some kind of, it's not ChatGPT, but Perplexity or Gemini, whatever.
Right.
I just think it's really important for anybody who is also doing that, is that these models are designed to kind of validate you and make it sound like everything you do is great. So you have to be
It does.
mindful of that and
Yes.
not kind of develop something because an AI model has told you it's going to be great. So
Yeah.
I think it's not using AI to do things for you, but make suggestions and view it critically.
So do you think, and this is maybe a slightly broader question beyond what you're doing, but do you think AI will, on the whole, result in better products being created, or will it actually result in more bad products being created?
That's interesting. I honestly couldn't say. Um, who knows? What do you think, Gethin? Have you seen any evidence to suggest either way?
I can't evidence it, but I think my gut feel is that um, it would accelerate both. I think we'll almost see, this kind of disparity of, the people and the users or the founders will be central to this. That
Mm,
people that it does allow better. It does allow you to create better products faster, and I think those people that the people that would have necessarily been good at doing that in the first place. AI allows those people to accelerate it. But I
Yeah.
think that those people, then there will be more bad products. So I think that we'll get both, and there'll be sort of two huge streams of just loads and loads of more rubbish coming to market that ultimately
Yeah.
fails quite quickly, and then just even better products. So I think that's my gut feel on the situation at the moment.
I think your instinct might be right there. Yeah, it's tough, and my business is about human interaction, and so I do feel some contradiction around it. I really want my products to be simple, and the actual product itself hasn't had AI involvement, and
Yeah.
I know what I want it to.
Okay. All right. So I'm keen just to open the floor to some questions in a minute, but the last point from me really is, what bit of advice would you give to people that are maybe at the start of the journey? They've got an idea, then maybe they've got an aspiration to get a product to market. What would you
Mm.
say? Is it don't do it, or maybe
You
something
said,
else?
yeah. Yeah, don't do no, no, I think definitely if you want to build something, this is important to you. I'd say this is just a personal journey as well as anything else. If you feel it's just something you want to do it. Accept that this will be harder than you think in all reality. It's hard to explain why until you're doing it, but you'll learn so much along the way. I have absolutely no regrets at all. The people that succeed are the ones that keep going and
Mm,
listen to others' advice, listen to their consumer research. As I kind of mentioned before, be understanding, if you need funding, understanding that innovation landscape ahead of time. If you need to tweak your product to suit the innovation landscape, then do that. If you then work with the product design team, be very specific about what you're looking for and have some
okay.
minimum acceptance criteria. I think that's sort of a bit of a lesson learned for me. I'm really, really happy with my prototype. There was some things I could have been more specific about though. And then finally, you're going to have operating costs from the start. If you form a limited company, you will have accounting costs unless you'd fancy taking that on yourself. If you're going to be building a website at some point, there will be some monthly operating costs that you need to cover. How will you do that? Because it could be quite a long time to get something to market. It's taking a lot longer than I thought, for multiple reasons. But just consider that you will have operating costs, possibly without income. Can you do consulting, or can you have another product that you're selling? So
Okay.
yeah, those are some things I would say.
Very good. Very good. Thank you. So, just before we wrap up, I'm grateful for the people that have attended and dialed in live today. I can see there's quite a few regulars: Philip, Alex, and Lewis and Kuldeep. Does anybody have any questions for Lucy today?
Hi there, Gethin. I've got one.
Hey, Mark. Yeah, please go ahead.
How easy was it to register the design?
I haven't achieved it yet. I'm still finalising the design.
Oh,
I would love to know that. I don't know, Gethin, you must have done this. How easy is it? How long does it take?
So my understanding is that it's an online process. I would always seek advice from a professional, so not necessarily a patent attorney, but somebody that specializes in design registration. There are quite a few, because you need to be aware of the angles and the way that you're presenting the image, but it can solely be done online. And in my experience, applications haven't been rejected. It's a case of it then sits on a database, so it's not assessed in the same way as a patent.
oh, interesting. Thanks.
Thanks, Mark.
Thanks, Mark. Philip, I can see you got your hand up there. Thanks for joining.
Hi. Oh, I've got the wrong screen and the wrong camera.
There we go.
Hi, Lucy. Really interesting conversation. Thank you for that. Just a couple of questions. One is, have you sought or benefited from any publicity from what it is you're doing? Because I would have thought this could be a really exciting and interesting story with the potential to connect to prospective funders or supporters. And the second question, and I hope you don't mind me asking, but have you at times struggled to sustain your enthusiasm for taking it through the process, and how have you overcome that?
Oh, those were great questions. Thank you.
Yeah.
Have I sought
Thanks for that.
publicity? Um, Honestly, I haven't. I think something this is, just a personal thing. I really struggle to shout about myself, something that I need to get over, I think. I need to advocate for my product and my company. I also always think, oh, am I ready? Is it ready? At what point do I just draw the line and put something out there? I'm not sure. It's on my radar. I often see local businesses here in North Wales in the local newspaper, the online newspaper saying they've launched a coffee van or something. I'm thinking, why can't I do that? So it's kind of on my radar, but I'm hesitant. I want to do it right. I very much like to have everything, all my ducks in a row first. But I think I need to relax a little bit. And then, the second question, just remind me a tiny little bit and it'll come back to me.
Yeah, it was about if you ever have trouble sustaining, and what do you do to overcome that?
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely do. I'm a parent as well, and as I say, I work part-time. And there's a lot of uncertainty. I've never taken a product, I've never designed a product and taken it to market. I don't know how that will look, and I find the uncertainty, I think everyone finds uncertainty difficult. I think sometimes it's just taking a break and allowing yourself to say, I'm not going to do anything on this for a week, and generally find enthusiasm again. Having a network of people is really, really, really important. Again, finding people through maybe, Eagle Labs from Barclays, or for me, I had this Royal Academy of Engineering, which has just been completely invaluable. You find that every entrepreneur is alone. Well, I know they may have a business partner, but it's a very lonely experience. So finding people you can network with is just so valuable.
Maybe the Royal Academy of Engineering will be happy to champion your efforts, and I'd get onto them and give them a nudge.
Yeah, well, they've given me a few boosts on social media. I'll give them that. I'm really grateful.
There are also some great, sorry, just as an aside, some really interesting female entrepreneur networks that could well be worth tapping into.
Yeah,
which
thank
is a
you.
kind of probably a patronizing male thing to say, but
Not at all. No, not don't think that. I appreciate it. Thank you.
pleasure. Enjoyed it. Thank you.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Billy. Just one final question because we're a few minutes over from Kuldeep. I can see you've got your hand up there, Kuldeep. So let's go ahead.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining.
Hi, good evening. I am from India,
Hi.
and it's
Thanks for
very
joining.
nice to hear. Yeah, nice to hear the story from Lucy, and it's very inspirational, actually.
Thank you.
Very good. Thank you. Do you have a question?
And
Or
yeah, now yes. So, as a PhD in mechanical engineering from India, I was reading her profile, like what she is building up, and it's a great thing in this time, like how we can save our attention and be in peaceful environment. So I just want to know that how this idea came to my mind. Like every day we are suffering from it, but nobody is talking about it. So what inspired you? Like there are a lot of ideas coming to us, but this one is very unique, and it is the requirement of the time. Like what is the motivation behind it?
Yeah,
Very
thank you for that. No, I appreciate the kind comments. Thank you. I think again, just seeing the problem firsthand, understanding what people's pain points are, like overriding screen time blockers, or um, have people don't want to pay more subscriptions. You have to subscribe to everything now, and there's also a lot of products focused on children. I found that there was nothing really for adults that was like aspirational and designed for adults to use and to, be role models as well to people around them and their own children. Yeah, I hope that
Yeah,
answers your question.
yeah, it is. Yeah, actually, there are a lot of problems, but I am also like, okay, there's too much data, and we are like lost in the world of data now.
Yeah. Agreed.
So this one is very best, but for people like India as a country who is just running behind, who is a database of data, you can say that. So what next? Like what we can build for this country or the people who are here who are bounded by data everywhere? They are suffering, but they are not able to address the problem.
Yeah,
It's definitely
Yeah.
overwhelming, isn't it?
Like, can we
totally.
have
Well,
something for the population over here so that they can have their attention in their hands, in their control?
absolutely. Just keep following, and now I'll send some over to India. Okay.
Okay, sure.
Very good.
You should launch something for the Indian community as well. It's too much chaos, and
Yeah, I'd
as
love
such to the
to.
global level.
Thank you so much for that. I
Yeah,
appreciate that.
you're welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. So, Lucy, just one final point. If anybody's got any questions offline, presumably you're on LinkedIn and people can find you there, or have you got a website that you're able to share?
Yeah, I'm on LinkedIn, Lucy Manifold. Don't think there's too many of us, so I think you'll find me quite easily. And the Habitronics LinkedIn page and habitronics.co.uk. I'd be absolutely more than happy to speak to any individuals who are thinking of creating a physical product, talk about in more detail about what I've experienced. I feel like I've got a lot to share. And I would have been grateful for someone like me who's been through it to speak to, and I'm more than happy to do that. It's important to me.
Brilliant. Brilliant. Okay. Thanks, Lucy, again for your time and thanks for joining. It's a really interesting discussion as always. We'll be back again actually at the end of July, probably the last Wednesday or the last Thursday of the month. The guest for the next episode is to be confirmed at the moment, but please keep an eye out on our LinkedIn profile and please join again at the end of the month. Thank you. Thanks for everybody for joining.
Thanks so much.
Thanks,
Bye.
Gaten, for
Cheers.
the great.
Thank you. Thanks
Yeah,
all.
it's a great.
Bye. Thank you.